This is Holland McAllister of the Greasy Strangler, and you're listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I am Nasty Neal, and I am joined by Sam Dissanayake.
Yeah, Dissanayake.
Kicking off Greasy Week here, and we have the Indian tourist of the Greasy Strangler, which I absolutely loved. And what went through your head when you heard the title, The Greasy Strangler?
Because I have worked with Jim in a couple of projects in the past. So definitely I knew it's not going to be a regular kind of a movie because he experiments. In the past, he used to experiment with different ideas. He had done a couple of episodes in a ABC series in the past. In addition to that, he did a short film with me. The importance of advertising in marketing. So it was a very weird kind of a short film. So I knew right away it was going to be something, a little bit not mainstream,
You mentioned working with Jim before, and it seems like if he likes you, if he's worked with you on other projects, that he likes to keep you in his other stuff. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that's right. Because he can see a lot of potentials in different people, like if he identifies somebody, he knows how to use him in different ways, he or she, So normally people who started with him around 2004, 2005, they are still working with him.
How did you meet Jim Hosking to begin with?
I didn't know him actually through audition, for Comcast, that bus passenger. I don't know whether you have seen that commercial clip. Yeah, that was my first one. I auditioned for Comcast and they had something else in their mind. The theme was different, but still he took me for a small clip, So then it went on to internet and he didn't go to the mainstream like TV, but that clip went to internet, and then I did a couple of other commercials with him, and then this short film on advertising, and it developed like that,
Yeah. So you must have enjoyed working with Jim yourself.
Yeah, because he can tell different, like he tells things, like this is what I wanted, this is the nature of the character, and you can play in between these areas, things like that. So it helps a lot the way he doesn't give specific things, he wants you to experiment in a certain range. He give the margins of that range, something like that. Yeah.
What would you say you added to your character in the Greasy Strangler? Like, how was he different than he was written?
He gave me a couple of clues. He said, try to speak the language, speak English as you speak your native language. That is one guideline, So you have to maintain your, the rhythm of your own language when you speak English. Because this is a tourist. He has not lived in US for a long time. So you have to maintain the theme, rhythm of your own language. That is the best thing. But at the same time, people should be able to understand what you speak. Yeah. Then he narrated me a story about experience he had in an Indian or Iranian restaurant in London. He and a couple of friends went there, and they said something. The other person says, pronounce it differently, and something went on between 3-4 minutes. So that is how the potato came.
That is such an hilarious scene. And you would think it's going to end, but it just keeps going. And I think that really adds to the comedy, the repetition.
There are a couple of other things in the same movie, like, he repeats through the characters, what is that? The bullshit artist, that's one thing, And then there was another one, Hootie Tootie Disco Cutie. Yeah, that's also. Yeah, he has a couple of things repeating in the same. He thinks repeating is like it makes more enjoyable things like that. Like yeah,
It's funny because you say it a few times and it's funny. And then you say it a few more times and it's like, okay, now it's kind of annoying. But then it keeps going from there and it becomes funny again and even funnier the more it goes on. It has to have like the right amount of repetition to go from funny to annoying to funny again. I don't know how that works, but that's how it works for me. So how long did it take to actually film that scene?
2 days actually. 2 days. Yeah, we were partially naked on one night in a street in LA. Yeah. And then the second day was the one we did other dialogues. That was a day shoot, Yeah, 2 days.
So what was it like to be outside in LA for practically just in your underwear and little shorts?
Luckily, it was a night shoot, so there were not much people in that street. Yeah. When you start working on a movie, you forget about the environment, Once you get into the characters, you don't know what's happening outside, So there were nobody watching us, like, yeah.
Plus it's LA, so people might not think too much of it.
Yeah, it's a regular thing in LA, yeah.
Was it cold outside?
Yeah, it was very cold. In September, yeah. Yeah.
So was that your first death scene in a movie?
Yeah, that scene was the first scene, yeah. He came and killed me, like that is the first scene, yeah.
I mean, was it the first time you've ever been killed on film?
Yeah.
And it's a very peculiar death scene because it goes over a lot of period of time, and you have a lot of dialogue while you're being murdered.
Oh, yeah.
So what was Michael St. Michael's like, the Greasy Strangler himself?
Yeah, I didn't work with him closely in any others, like a couple of dialogues plus this killing scene. So he gave me necessary input for me to act, Yeah, he was very weird and, and he was really coming after me. So it gave me to like, panic, create a panic situation,
Had you known your fellow tourist, Hollen and Abdoulaye before? Had you worked with them before? Or was this the first time you got to meet them?
No. First time I met them, but they have also working with Jim for a long time, Yeah.
Did you guys get to become friends on set, working together for your scenes?
Yeah. We meet like not very often, but when there is a screening or something like that, we meet and we get hang out together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So when you see the final movie, when you see it finished with, it's edited to get the music, how different was it from what you expected it to be when you read the script and when you're acting in it?
Somewhat like what I expected, but there were a couple of things in the movie which I didn't expect, Yeah. Like I thought it would be somewhat realistic, but this is this is going into the surreal kind of area, like it's some, it's going into a weird fictional kind of area, I thought it would be a more realistic kind of a movie. By looking at the script and things like that, but it's something, Jim has given an interview that he clearly says that he was he was watching movies from small days, and one time he was interested in existential movement in France because he's from London. And then one point he became bored with those films, and he wanted to do films which others don't do, which means the themes which other directors don't discuss in movies, So that's how we get into these weird, stuff. The people who psychologically think, but they don't want to act in that way. So Greasy is something like that. Everybody has those characters inside, but in practical mundane world, people don't act like that way. So that aspect has come out more when I watched the movie,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre, and like you said, it's not a realistic movie. It's like its own little world. Even stuff like they're paying with fake money. And, at first I thought maybe it was because the guy was blind, but they do it in another scene, so this is its own little world.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the movie yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But, frankly, I am interested in different movies, I like movies like, Lincoln, then Arrival, sci-fi is another area of my interest. Like I enjoyed Arrival a lot, that kind of movie I like a lot,
Yeah, I liked
Did you? Yeah. And then the other type is like Forrest Gump and Lincoln and that type of movies. This is not my main interest, but working with Jim is a different thing,
I think it's either you really love it because it's so unique, so original, or you're like, no, I just can't watch this.
Right.
There's no in between. There's no one that's like, it's all right.
Yeah. Either you like it or otherwise you don't like it at all. No, yeah.
So what's the reception been amongst like your friends and family?
Actually, a lot of them have not seen the movie at my close circles, who are in Toronto. That they might see the movie through Netflix or something like that in a future day. But most of them haven't seen the movie, but they know about it, LA is a different thing because we had a lot of screenings in LA and, people got to see it,
Did you go to the screenings?
Yeah, I didn't go to other cities, but I went in LA, Yeah.
What was that like to watch the movie with an audience?
Oh, it's interesting, people recognize it right away. Yeah, they want to talk to you, things like that.
Yeah, you go off and I'm going to go eat my paprika chips.
Yeah.
Do you like ridged potato chips?
Not really.
Well, that's too bad because I bet fans will be offering you chips for a long period now. Would you work with Jim again?
Yeah, I shot the second film. I don't know whether Beverly Laughlin. We shot in Eureka in Northern California from February 13th to March 13th. But I worked only 4 to 5 days, during that period. Yeah.
Oh, Sky's in that one too. Sky Elobar, Big Braden of the Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, Sky worked about 9 days. And the main characters was people, they were not in Greasy, they are mainstream like B-list. I think, Emil Hirsch, he's in the movie. Emil Hirsch, and then Aubrey, who was in the Parks and Creation series, So main characters are by like recognizable names, in this movie.
Without giving too much away, are you allowed to say anything about the movie? You want to give us a little bit of an idea of what to expect?
Yeah. It's about a urban neighborhood, like multicultural, different characters. I am actually the brother of the main female character. Older brother of the female character. I am running a health food store, and it's completely different. It's I would say this movie is more mainstream than Greasy. It's a realistic aspect to it, and my character was a very tough guy in the neighborhood, Yeah, dealing with a lot of tough people. It's a very different movie, and it's more mainstream than Greasy, Yeah, you will see another side of Jim in this movie,
Ever since I watched The Greasy Strangler, I started to watch Jim's other shorts on Vimeo, And I'm really looking forward to this because it's nice to see different sides of an artist that you enjoy the work of. Even if it's more mainstream or it's a little different than the other one, it's still from the same person, and it's good to see, what else
Yeah.
this guy can do.
And this one, the production company is different. His co-writer is from New York. So everything is different, in this movie. Yeah.
You mentioned multicultural, and that seems like something Jim's really interested in because it comes up a lot in all his work. It's very interesting looking people, a lot of different looking people, and not just looks wise, but different languages, different accents,
Yeah.
people of different ethnicities.
Yeah.
So what other projects do you have in the works? What else can we see from you coming up?
This is, as a movie, this is the one which is coming out soon, and I'm doing a lot of auditioning at the moment for commercials and stuff like that, Yeah.
How did you get into acting?
It was a natural kind of a development, like when I went to school for health studies, health information studies. So when I had free time, in Toronto, I started going to theater school, So it has been not the main part of my, still I am working in the health industry. This is a side thing I am developing, Hopefully it will grow more, Yeah.
Well, it's definitely fun to see you on screen. You bring a lot of energy, and you're very unique, and I mean that in a good way. And
Okay.
it's just it's cool, and I look
Thank
forward
you
to
very
seeing
much
you
for that.
and stuff more in the future.
Thank you very much.
For people listening, how can they keep in touch and contact and find out what's in the future for Sam?
My not a social media. My Facebook is Sam Anu Dissanayake. Yeah, and I am in IMBD and IMBD. I'm a member there, and my clips are there in the IMBD.
So everyone listening, go to Sam's IMDb page and help the star rating go up. We got to make this man a superstar.
Okay, thank you. When the next film comes, we can talk more.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and we'll hold that to you. And continued success, and a huge thanks for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it, and it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
This is Jim Hosking. Jim is the director of The Greasy Strangler, and you are listening to Without Your Head.